Welcome to the Stop Over Drinking and Start Living podcast, where high-achieving, goal-oriented rebel women come to learn how to live a vibrant and fulfilling life without requiring alcohol to get through it. No labels, no judgments, no saying you'll never drink again. Just real proven methods to help you stop rebelling against yourself with alcohol so you can drink less and do more. I'm your host, Angela Mascenik. Let's dig in. Welcome to episode 394, Back to Baseline, my sleep update and the boundary I broke. Well, hello, beautiful people. How you doing? I am pre-recording this episode right before I walk on the Camino trail in Portugal into Spain, and I'm really excited about it. I'm literally leaving in 3 days. I'm going to walk about 160 miles, which is about a half marathon a day. Please send me all of your love and good vibes. But anyway, I am fully unplugging for that experience. I'm only taking my phone just to be available and whatnot. But I won't be having video calls. I won't be having any meetings. And I am really excited. I just sent this message to somebody. I'm excited to see what obstacles come up and how I work through them. Isn't that just such a weird thing to be excited about? But it's very similar to when I approached changing my relationship with alcohol. My thought about that at the very beginning was, I don't know what's going to happen, but I'm excited to find out. I'm excited to see what's going to come up because I have no idea. There's no way I could plan and think through every single obstacle. I know that a lot of you guys like to do that. You like to forecast and project all the things that could go wrong and have a plan just in case. And what if this happens? And what if this happens? That's pre-stressing, okay? And it doesn't help because, as you know, most of the things that we worry about ahead of time actually never happen. But what does help is knowing that you will be able to figure it out, whatever does happen. And that's what I believe about myself. I trust myself, especially after everything that I've been doing in the past 8 years. I know that whatever happens, I will figure it out. And I'm not off in the wilderness without internet or resources or anything like that. So it's going to be interesting. And I'm really excited. I'm excited to see my friend Dan. He's coming from Atlanta. And he's going through a life transition as well. And it was his birthday a couple weeks ago. So I'm very excited to do this journey with him. Anyway, before I left, I was thinking about this the other day. And when I recorded last week's podcast, I wanted to give you an update about coming off my medication and my sleep aids. So a few episodes ago, it was called How to Stop Talking Yourself Out of It When It Gets Uncomfortable. A lot of you loved that episode and sent me messages and asked me how I was doing. Well, this podcast is going to be an update on that. So remember, if you haven't listened to it, I highly recommend that you listen to that first. You don't have to, of course, but I would, so that it all makes sense. And it will be really helpful in whatever habit you're trying to change. So I had body aches. There were nights that I was not sleeping, especially after moving here. I was coming off of a very low dose of Zoloft. It was an anti-anxiety that I was prescribed to take temporarily to help me get through the finishing of the Magic House and this move to Portugal. And so the plan was always to end it after about 3 months. And what happened was I forgot to take it 2 days in a row and decided to come off of it about 2 weeks before we moved. My doctor never warned me of the side effects because she called it a baby dose and I didn't have to taper and I just stopped taking it when I was ready. Well, in this previous episode that I just mentioned, I get into all the details of that and it was not a good time. And I also started taking a sleep aid because I wasn't sleeping very well because of the time zone change and this move and all the things that were going on, right? And so I explained that in the podcast and how I was basically going to just raw dog it and, get myself off of that and see how long it took and get myself back to baseline. So the update is I'm off everything, the medication, the sleep aids, all of it. And here's the part that I didn't actually expect. Even after I stopped the pills, I still needed a podcast or something playing in my ear to fall asleep. And for a few nights, I let myself have that. But then I noticed I'm needing this and I don't want to need this. And I know that voice very well. And you probably know that voice. It's the same voice that says, I need a glass of wine to relax. So after 3 nights, I dropped that too. And I want to pause here because it's really important. Getting back to baseline for me meant noticing all the ways I was outsourcing my comfort, even the innocent ones. Like nobody's really worried about a podcast in your ear at night, right? It's harmless, but it was still something outside of me that I was believing that I needed. And I wanted to know that I could just sleep. Like I just want to be able to fall asleep like I used to. And it turns out, yes, I can. And it worked. So what actually worked was, here's all the practical stuff. All right. So I know that a lot of you guys have sleep issues, and I'm not pretending to be a sleep advisory person. I'm also not a doctor, and this is my own personal stuff, but I'm sharing with you what worked for me. So 2 things that made the biggest difference. First, no caffeine after 12 o'clock p.m. And I mean it. Like even chocolate, I was eating a little bit of chocolate ice cream at night. That was keeping me up before I went off this stuff. I didn't realize how much that afternoon coffee or that could be a little bit of chocolate after dinner, it was working against me. So I cut it off at noon and the difference was huge right away. The second thing was I've been getting up when I wake up. So even if it's like 5:45 or 6 o'clock in the morning, even when I don't have to get up that early, and I don't here, especially right now because my kids, first of all, they don't need me to wake them up anymore, but I'm their mother and I like to make sure everybody's on track. And I don't have like a 7 a.m. gym appointment here. They don't do that here. My first availability to get to my yoga studio is 9 a.m. So I really don't have to wake up that early. But if I lie there and I might fall back asleep, then I'm not waking up to like 7:30, and then I'm not really tired by the time that I need to be going to sleep to get a good night's rest. So I've been getting up when I wake up, so listening to my body. And by the time 9:30 rolls around, like I am doing an evening routine. Like I come into my bedroom. It's not dark here yet by 9 o'clock, so I have to shut my shutters in my bedroom. I turn on dim lights. I get my pajamas on. I brush my teeth. I get my water. I like start the evening routine to help myself, to cue myself that bedtime is coming. So less stimulants, less noise, less technology, and cueing myself like I'm going in my bed and I'm actually reading a really good book right now, paperback. So I get into that little routine at night. So that's been really helpful as well. So that's it. Okay, that's it. Those are the main things. No caffeine after 12. I get up when I wake up and I start that bedtime routine to cue my body that it's time to start calming down. Because living in the city is very stimulating for me too. And since it doesn't get dark here like it did in North Carolina earlier, I have to kind of prep my body to be cued for that. Okay? I know that could sound boring. Like those are easy, like those are no-brainers. And they are, but like a lot of times people don't want it to be easy. They want it to be more complex and you have to do all these things and blah, blah, blah. And it's not. Just be consistent with a couple of things and you'll find that usually that stuff works. So I also want to talk to you about the day that I broke my own rule. Eek! Okay. I'm always going to tell you the whole story. One day I broke the caffeine rule. It's about 3 days ago. I had caffeine after 12. And these are all my thoughts about it. Let me see if you recognize these thoughts and compare them to the thoughts that you have about alcohol, okay? So normally I like to have 2 cups of coffee a day. And so I make myself a cup of coffee when I wake up in the morning. I slowly drink that. And then usually I like to go work out and then come home and like have a second cup of coffee and eat my breakfast. That's usually my morning routine. Well, this day I did not have that second cup of coffee. Like I was busy and running around and doing a bunch of stuff and working, and like I just never got to it before noon. And I had a scheduled call with somebody at 2 p.m. And I'm like, oh, I really want that second cup of coffee. I didn't have my second cup. I planned to have 2 cups. I always plan to have 2 cups. And I didn't have my second cup. And I think I'm going to live on the edge today and see what happens. Just going to try it, see what happens. Interesting, right? So I made the coffee at 2 p.m. I probably drank half of it like I always do. I make these big cups of coffee, like a big American cup of coffee, and then it gets cold and I don't finish it. I drank about half of it. It was good, but I had chatter about it. I was like, I wonder what's going to happen, blah, blah, blah. I'm living on the edge. Well, sure enough, I was up until 12:30 a.m. that night. And I'm like, dang it. I knew it, right? Like I knew that wasn't going to be good for me. Okay. I didn't beat myself up, but I just let myself I'm reading this really good book. So I just kept reading until I got tired. Not a big, terrible thing, right? But I want to get in an established, consistent sleep routine. So I don't want to keep doing that. So in the morning, I decided to hold my boundary again. And this thought was there for me. I may want it, but it's not good for me. I love coffee, just like I used to love wine, probably just as much. And so, especially like afternoon coffee can kind of be compared to like day drinking. So like I used to like day drinking and have all these thoughts about day drinking and like, oh, you can day drink and then you're not hungover the next day because you just go to bed at a regular time and it burns itself off. Like I had this whole story around it. Well, afternoon coffee for me can sound very similarly. It can be like, ooh, this is a little risque. This is a little different. You don't drink anymore. So an afternoon coffee gives you that little pick me up in the afternoon. It's so fun. It's so fun to have an afternoon coffee when you're out walking around and feel that, it's just like the same flavor of story. Like it's different. It's exciting. It's not something I normally do. I like the way it makes me feel, blah, 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 blah. But I know that afternoon coffee isn't good for me, just like I know day drinking isn't good for me now, right? I may want it, but it is not good for me. It's just the same flavor of shit that my brain was offering me. So this is what I really want you to pay attention to in this whole story. The next day, I got up and like, lesson learned, went right back to the boundary. No caffeine after 12. Done. That's it. I don't need to be like, well, I blew it and I might as well just drink coffee today because I was tired. Because I was tired the next day because I didn't get my full 8-9 hours of sleep, right? I was up till 12:30 and I woke up at 6. So I was tired the next day. I could have easily had a later afternoon cup of coffee, but I didn't. I just got right back to it. There wasn't any beating myself up about it. I was just like, oh, you played with fire, you got burned, back to it. No spiraling. Never said, well, I didn't sleep last night, so I need this cup of coffee. None of that bullshit. I broke the one rule one time, and it cost me one night of sleep, and then I got right back to it. So I want you to compare that to what most of us do for drinking. So you have the 1 glass of wine on a Tuesday after 2 great weeks, and suddenly it's a screw it, I'll restart on Monday, and it just starts to spiral. It could be a 2-day bender, a 5-day bender, right? Or I already ruined it if you're doing like a 30-day challenge or whatever. The slip was the 1 glass, right? Like I did that one time. The damage, the continuing like not honoring yourself and, not trusting yourself came from everything you did after that slip because of the story you probably told yourself about that slip and how you're talking to yourself, okay? The slip was one time. Abandoning the rule continuously is the real cost. So we're all going to break our own rules sometime, and we're humans. The skill I really want you all to build on is to get back to it. No drama, no shame spiral, no restart ritual, no Monday. Just go back. Just start that day. Be like, I'm not doing that again. That wasn't good for me. And get back to your boundary. Yes, it's uncomfortable. Yes, I had to work through an urge for coffee the next day, which is also something you should pay attention to. It's easier to just honor the boundary in the first place, because then you don't have to like keep working through it. Like, especially with alcohol, you break the boundary and then your brain's like, ooh, let's do that again. Right. And then you have to work through those urges again, where if you just worked through the urge the first time, it will get easier and easier and easier over time. And those urges will be a lot less. Okay. So that's where I am right now. I'm sleeping really well. I'm feeling so much better. I'm so happy that I just was able to lean into my discomfort and get through this. No pills, no podcast in my ear, no negotiating with myself at 10. My body found its way back to its baseline, and I'm taking this same body that's back at its baseline, exactly what I wanted. This is exactly my goal. Like when I decided to stop the medication before I moved, I wanted to be clear and free of everything before I started this Camino walk. And that's where I am. And I had to work through that it's been about 5 weeks to report that I am feeling about 95% like I normally do. And that's huge. So 5 weeks of discomfort to get here, 100% worth it. 100% worth it. Okay. It's a short amount of time. And I knew that it was temporary all along. Okay. So that's the story. Short-term discomfort for long-term satisfaction and feeling good, friends. It works with medication, sleep, alcohol, scrolling too much, name it. So here's what I want you guys to think about this week. What's the boundary you keep breaking? Maybe it's not drinking. Maybe it's stopping at 1. Maybe it's the phone in bed, the snooze button, whatever it is. And when you break it, because you probably will, we're human, what would it look like to just get back to it the next morning? No ceremonies. No, I got to do this big reset. No shame. Just lesson learned, back to the boundary. So I'd love for you to try that. Practice to get back to it on something small this week. So it's there when you actually need it for something big. Okay, my friends, I'm off. Send me lots of love. I'll be thinking about you. Of course, I'll be coming up with tons of ideas and things I want to share, and I'll be journaling along the way and documenting all the little obstacles that I have to overcome, and I cannot wait to share them with you when I return. All right, my friends. Also, I wanted to let you know that the 6-month transformation group has formed. It's closed, but I am accepting applications for the next cohort. Okay, this is a really amazing opportunity to work with me in a very high touch way. You get coaching from me every week. You get to be in a small group of women, 6 to 8 total, through the whole 6 months. So you get to know each other. We'll have cohesiveness and continuity. And then at the end of that 6 months, we'll gather together here in Lisbon at the Magic House for an in-person experience where we pull together all the skills and tools I've been teaching you along the 6 months and experience that together in real time. The next cohort will probably start this fall. So I'm thinking September, October, and the retreat will be in the springtime here in Lisbon. So the link is here in the show notes. You can apply to be in it now and put your deposit down and save your spot. Okay, highly recommend. These women are doing great. It's so fun to work with people at this intimate level every week. Everybody shows up, cameras on, no hiding. Calls are required, by the way. So I wanted to let you know that. And I think that's it for today. All right, my friends. I can't wait to report back after the Camino. Talk soon.